It's a brilliant ball by Ederson, and Haaland's going to get onto it, and he's going to score the opening goal. Brilliant vision from Ederson. Magnificent from Haaland. He just shrugged off the challenges of Sanchez and Webster. And it is goal number 16 in the Premier League, 21 of the campaign. Bernardo Silva's suddenly in the clear here, and he takes a tumble. And he thinks he's been fouled by Dunk, and VAR agree. Haaland, it was never in any doubt, and it is goal number 600 of the Premier League era of Pep Guardiola's reign here at the Etihad Stadium. Certainly been bold and optimistic in the second half, and through Trossard, they're back in it, Brighton. It had been a good spell for them, and they're right back in this game. On towards Haaland, and into the gap now for Mahrez, and it was blocked. Trossard, he's away from Akanji, he keeps on going, and Ederson with an important save. Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, they've given him room, they've given him time. It's a mistake that you just cannot afford to make. And Kevin De Bruyne with another sumptuous strike. And the Blues have their 2-goal advantage again. It's been a tough game, but the Blues have found a way. They've bounced back from that Liverpool defeat, and they move with an appointed Arsenal. 3-1 against Brighton.
He just felt he had to celebrate, and I was there to celebrate with.
What was I thinking?
Really top-class strike. Fernandinho!
The vision from Pep and Kevin is similar, the way they want to play.
Isto é espetacular, este gol aqui do Benfica é inédito.
I'll be watching.
Welcome to Matchday Live. Thank you so much for joining us today as City take on Leicester City. It is, of course, a 12:30 kickoff today. Now, City have won each of their last 8 Premier League games that have started before 1 p.m, keeping 7 clean sheets in the process. What a bizarre but brilliant stat that is. Now, we've also won our last 3 away Premier League games against Leicester without conceding a goal. Our last away defeat back in Boxing Day 2018, which was a 2-1 loss. Now, Leicester have lost 9 of their last 11 Premier League matches against City and have lost their last 3 in a row. City, and the games that we've been involved with this season, have seen 47 goals so far, 37 for and 11 away. Now, we do have some big news for you to start the show with today. We'll get you that team news as soon as we are allowed. But I can exclusively tell you that Erling Haaland is not in the squad today. So he has not made the squad today. So I'll give you your starting 11 and your bench very shortly. So do stick with us here on Match Day Live. So joining us today here in the studio, 3 men that indeed used to play together. 2 of them have also played for Leicester. I'm really excited. I know it's going to be a super fun show with them today. So I do have Shaun, Steve Howey and Paul Dickov all joining me in the studio. It's going to be a great show. Right, we can give you the team news. Here is our starting 11 for today's game. So I make this 6 changes from the team that drew with Dortmund midweek. So it is Ederson in goal, Stones, Akanji, Laporte and Cancelo. Then Rodri, De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan captain of course, Bernardo Silva, Jack Grealish and a start there for Julian Alvarez. On your subs bench it is Ortega, Carson, Diaz, Ake, Gomez, Mahrez, Foden, Rico Lewis and Wilson Esbrand. So that is your Manchester City squad and team news for today's game. So straight away, I'm going to go to my guests to get their thoughts on it. We have a couple of strikers in the studio with us, so we'll go straight on to that Erling Haaland news. Shaun, he's not in the squad today. How are you feeling?
He's potentially still able to score in the rate that he scores goals. Yeah. Well, clearly, hopefully, it's only for this game. He's been in such great form, and I'd like to think it's just this game that he'll miss. Yes, it's disappointing because I think he's written his own sort of story in terms of when he plays, will he score, that whole conversation. So Alvarez is in, so this is exciting. I think he needs a period where there isn't the Haaland discussion, and he's got that today, whereas he knows he can just play the game, not thinking Haaland's on the bench, will he come on, and all that sort of stuff. So from Haaland's point of view, hopefully it's just today, and we'll see him back very, very soon.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal chance for Julian Alvarez today, Paul. So we've seen him in sort of bit parts mostly this season since he joined properly in the summer. But when they played against Nottingham Forest and he started, he got the 2 goals. So I bet he's really excited to get the full game today.
He will be, and look, what we've seen of him already and what we've seen before he came to the club, he looks as if he's going to be a top player. You know, he's only 21, 22. We all know Pep likes to press him in front, you know, and he works ever so hard. You know, he's enthusiastic, he's got quality, and he's such a good finisher. You know, you look at his goals before he came, the goals since he's been here. You know, it's left foot, right foot, it's inside the box. You know, he mixes it up a lot, and you know, his work rate's infectious. So that rubs off on everybody else, and it's great to see him to get his chance. As in Erling been missing, you know, it's going to be a big talking point anyway. But you know, 9 of the starting 11 that's out there played without a centre forward last season and still scored 99 goals. So hopefully it doesn't affect us too much.
Yeah, this is true. We do have to remember, we went a whole of last season without playing a striker, and this season Erling Haaland may not be playing today, but we have another striker that can step in.
It is, and he's played as a 10, he's played wide since he came in, so he'll be loving getting the chance to play as a number 9 because that's his natural position.
In terms of looking at the defence, Steve, we do like to play the who is playing where game. You know, everybody knows by now that it is one of my favourite games. So you've got Stones, Akanji, Laporte and Cancelo. What are you thinking?
Well, obviously the discussion that we had before we've come on air is I think Akanji will play right back and Stones will be alongside Laporte. But it's still a very good defence. Again, you know, obviously we're missing Haaland. But any players that do come in, Pep has assembled a top squad. So, you know, those players will still be very, very confident about getting a result today.
I think Manuel Akanji's done a phenomenal job since he's come in, playing centre-back and now suddenly being thrown into that right-back position. He has adapted really well, hasn't he?
He has, but having said that, I was doing the game last week. I didn't think it was his best game. I thought he was just a little bit off it. I'm pretty sure the manager and the staff and players would have even pointed that out to him. So, of course, I think today he will probably... Well, I think his performance will be a lot better than it was last week. Even though it wasn't a bad performance, just the standards that he set.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of those centre-backs there, Shaun, of course, Laporte is back, Stones is back. Both of them have had periods of the season where they've been out with injury. So how happy are you to see them both back playing together? Yes,
I really am pleased because Laporte is the left-sided centre-back and we don't see it often, but he has in his armour that ability to sort of hit those 50-yard passes and drive forward, and his passing is quality in terms of how many times, the lack of time, not lack, but he doesn't give the ball away very often, so which is a quality that all our centre-backs have. But really particularly pleased to see him in because he's had the period out with the injury. Stones as well. Stones, we know, is comfortable on the ball, can step forward, picks good options all the time. So really pleased to see those two. I think in general play will end up being a 3 and Akanji would sort of swing around, and Cancelo will either come inside or push up. But really pleased to see those two back as well.
I think it just shows you the ridiculous strength and depth they've got in centre-half position. You know, Stones and Laporte have been out, and we've never missed them a couple of seasons ago, or even longer than that. If Vincent Kompany was missing, we really struggled. If Stones or Laporte were out maybe 2 seasons ago, we struggled in that position. But now, you know, we've got Akanji, Stones, Laporte, Diaz is on the bench, and Nathan Ake's been fantastic as well. It's just ridiculous, the strength and depth in that position.
Yeah, you're so right. Even last season, towards the end of the season, when we were struggling with injuries in defence, and Fernandinho was playing back there. Fernandinho played right back at some point as well. So yeah, the strength that we have now is phenomenal. In terms of looking up into midfield, Kevin had a break in the week. He didn't play, so he had a rest, which should hopefully mean he's going to be even more dangerous today.
He will be, off the back of a wonderful goal last week, and you know, his assist rate, 9 assists I think he's got already in the Premier League, and we're not even at the end of October yet. But look, we keep saying it all the time, waxing lyrical about him. He's just not the best midfielder in the Premier League. He's probably the best midfielder in the world at the minute. And you know, Rodri doesn't get the credit that De Bruyne gets, but the job he does for the team is just outstanding. And then you put Gundo in there, who keeps the ball, makes the blind runs into the box. You know, that three is super strong. You know, it's hard to say what our best three is in there, 'cause if Gundo doesn't play, Bernardo's usually in there. But the strength and the mid and the quality is ridiculous.
Yeah. And then looking up top again, another area where we've got unbelievable quality in there, Stephen, you know, squad depth as well. So today, obviously, we've mentioned Julian Alvarez, Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish. I've been a huge fan of both Silva and Jack Grealish this season.
Yeah, I mean, again, as Dickie was saying, the squad, the strength and depth is phenomenal. I think there has been a little bit of criticism towards Jack Grealish, which I thought was a little bit unfair, because obviously Pep's asking him to play a certain way. But those 3 players, I mean, I would imagine the Leicester players would have been absolutely delighted to hear the news that Haaland wasn't playing. But at the same time, when they look at the team sheet and see who is playing, they still know they're going to be in for a difficult afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of the 12:30 kick-off, Shaun, today, we're the first to play. If we win today, we will go top of the league. So how important is it for us to pile that pressure on everybody else early on?
Yeah, we certainly want to get a win. We want to play well. I think Pep will be just looking to assure that we perform well, and the result will take care of itself. So it will be winning the players to be on the front foot, when out of possession, can we press aggressively? And when we're in possession, can we keep it, look for the pocket spaces? And he'll just look for that overall complete performance. And, you know, Alvarez coming in up the middle, I'm looking for... I think he brings his energy as well as the ability that he has. And obviously, as time goes, Paul says he'll score goals. I'm looking for him to get involved where he comes. He's a totally different centre forward to Haaland. He'll come down, he'll get involved. So really looking forward to him coming in, getting involved in the game and showing how we can put on a complete performance with a different type of centre forward as well.
Yes, absolutely. Can't wait to see what Julian Alvarez is going to do today. So we do now have the team news for you for Leicester City. So here is your starting 11 for our opposition today. So it is Ward, Castagna, Amati, Faz, Soyuncu, Justin, Tielemans, Dewsbury Hall, Maddison, Barnes and Vardy starts. So that is your starting 11 today for Leicester. So, gents, we went straight to talk about our strikers when we talked about the City team. Let's have a quick word straight away on Leicester's. Obviously, Jamie Vardy, Paul, has a phenomenal record scoring against us.
He does. Look, he's been one of the best strikers in the Premier League over the last 6-7 years, if not longer. He does enjoy playing against us. It'll be interesting to see how they set up. Looks as if they're going to play 5 at the back with Amati, Faz and Soyuncu there. So whether he's up top on his own, Maddison will probably not play out wide, probably come into the middle of the park to use his quality in there. But we all know Leicester are going to sit back today. You know, whether it's 5-4-1 or 3-4-3, they're going to sit back and look to hit Jamie Vardy in behind, because they have been successful previously doing that against us. You know, remember the game here at the Etihad, where he tore us apart. But we're defensively, we're a different team altogether now with that one. But they'll know it'll be a tough game today. You know, they've started the season really poorly. Leicester conceding lots of goals, but they've just had 3 clean sheets in a row, won their last 2 games, and they'll be up for it. But at the same time, they'll know they're in for a tough morning, afternoon. whatever it is.
Yeah, they're turning it round, and it feels like Vardy. He went 11 games without scoring, Shaun, and then got a goal in his last game out. Now the stat for that was it was his 100th Premier League goal since turning 30, which is a mad stat in itself. I love the people that create these stats. I don't know where they get them from, but yeah, he'd gone 11 games goalless and then scored in his last game. But regardless of that sort of level of form, he's always a dangerous player, isn't he?
Yes, he is, and I'd imagine, as he's looking at the fixtures and realising that he wasn't scoring, there are teams where you just score. Sometimes you just have to be on the field and the ball hits you, goes in. And City's been that team for him. He just seems to score against us. And he's probably thinking, when do I play City? From his point of view. And I just think that the fact that he's not been on this great form, even though City are that team that he normally scores against, he needs, as a player, you also need a rhythm. So I'm sort of... I don't think he'll have the best of games in terms of scoring. Let's hope we can keep him quiet.
Yes, I love that attitude. Now, another player we could do with keeping quiet today is James Maddison, Steve. I feel like he's quite an underrated player, certainly in terms of England. I think many England fans are slightly baffled as how he's not been selected for England. He's been involved in 15 goals in his last 14 Premier League appearances. He's scored 10, he's assisted 5. Since the start of that run in May, only Harry Kane has been involved in more amongst the English players, yet he doesn't play for England. How highly do you rate him? I
think he's a very good player. We know what he's like. I mean, he's got a great strike on him, but he's also very dangerous from set pieces. He can whip them. I just thought maybe he's at the start of the season as well, probably his form wasn't great. Whether the link as well for him to go to Newcastle, whether that affected him. But as I said, he is a top player, and they have the last couple of games they have turned things around, and it's strange actually because. It wasn't that long ago, really. People were looking at Brendan Rodgers and thinking he's kind of under pressure. But with players that Leicester have got, they will cause problems. As Dickie said, they'll fancy it today, and they always know that they think they can give City a decent game. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But obviously, likes of Maddison and Vardy with his pace and stuff like that, they will pose a threat.
It wasn't even just people as well, it was Leicester's own fan base. I noticed people started taking Brendan Rodgers out signs to games, Paul, but he's ridden this wave. They've now taken 10 points from a possible 15. They had won their last 2 games, really convincing win against Wolves last weekend. So he's done well to ride the wave and, looks like he might be coming out the other side now.
Yes, but he's a top manager, Brendan, and he's, I was going to say very lucky, but he's got really good owners behind him as well, and the owners know that Brendan didn't have a lot of money to spend in the summer. They were right on the brink of the financial fair play, hence why they had to get Kasper Schmeichel had to go to get off the wage bill. They sold Fofana for 80-90 million pounds, but still weren't able to strengthen. So they're very realistic, the owners, and they back the manager. And the flip side of that, Brendan's a top manager and a top coach. He's got super experience from when he was at Liverpool. People might say about going up to Celtic and winning loads of things, it's easy to do up there, but there's massive pressure up there as well. So he's used to it, but he's managed it well. He's kept the same squad of players. The biggest problem Leicester have had has been conceding goals and getting a consistent team out there. There were a lot of injuries at the start of the season. The squad wasn't the strongest. But we've seen over the last, Steve said there, over the last few weeks, once they're able to keep people fit and get their best players on the pitch, they pick up results.
Yeah, it seems like goal scoring's not been particularly difficult for them. They've scored more than many teams in the league, including Chelsea, including Manchester United. So perhaps it is that difficult they've had with the injuries they've had in defence. A player they did manage to keep hold of, though, was Youri Tielemans, who's obviously really highly rated, Shaun.
Yes.
Although his contract runs out at the end of the season, so there's a good chance that somebody's going to get him on a free. How highly do you rate him? Yeah,
well, he's one that also needs to be watched because, again, if he gets into his rhythm, his range of passing, in particular, in the final third, he has the ability to slide balls through, also possesses a decent shot. But because of the way City play, I think it's going to force them to play a whole different way. So I think if he's going to be effective, I think he'll be receiving balls deep and then perhaps giving longer passes in terms of Vardy being in behind as opposed to being up and around the final third and seeing his guile and quality of passing in those areas. So, but he's an absolute quality player. He'll know a lot about De Bruyne. The two play together for Belgium. So, yeah, he'll be one that we have to keep quiet as well.
Yeah, they have a few Belgian players that will be going off to the World Cup. But kind of question for all of you I've been thinking about. 5 games now until the World Cup. Obviously, Steve, City have a high majority of our players will be going to the World Cup. It isn't the same for Leicester, who's pretty much, it's just the Belgian players the handful of them that they have that'll be going. Do you think that makes a difference for the players? Have the players that are going to the World Cup got an eye on it? I'm thinking of like 50-50 tackles. Are they going in on them or are they pulling out?
I think sometimes if you're a player and you're actually looking ahead too much and then you start pulling out of challenges, that's when you do actually get injured, rather than just playing your normal game. Of course, players will be looking forward to it. They'll not want to pick up injuries. They'll want to be in good form. But it's the players that are not going to the World Cup. I mean, they're kind of hanging about. Clubs will probably do maybe some pre-season games or stuff like that to keep players busy, but do you let the players off? Do you give them that time off? How are you keeping them fit in that period of time as well? So it is a difficult one. But as far as players are concerned, as I said, if you're looking too far ahead, it's always a dangerous thing to do as a player. I think you've just got to concentrate on every game as it comes.
Yeah, I believe I've got to keep coming in during the World Cup and just keep warming up and, you know, not losing the skill while they're all away.
Well, Scotland's not there, are they? So we don't.
You're true.
They've got no interest in it whatsoever.
It's true. Paul and I are having a break anyway, aren't we? I won't be watching any of it. Jokes, of course. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So that is the Leicester team news for today's game. Please remember as well, of course, our WhatsApp number that is on your screen. You can ask us any questions. Ask the gents any questions you would like about today's game, about tactics, about their careers. You know that I love your questions. You always ask the best questions. So get them in and I'll get through as many as I possibly can. And also remind you as well, if you haven't by now, get the City app downloaded. It is the best place to get the commentary for today's game. You have the wonderful Alistair Mann who'll be taking you through the full commentary of the game on the City app a little bit later. Now, I appreciate very much my guest opinions on Leicester, but we're going to hear from somebody now that may know a little bit more. Actually, he has a foot in both camps today. When he is not commentating here at Manchester City, he is keeping tabs on his beloved Leicester City. We caught up with him earlier this week to get his thoughts ahead of today's big game. He is John Dunn.
The only change has been the one outfield signing they made, which was Wout Faes, who's come into the centre of defence. Natural leader, which is something that the team definitely missed. And again, Brendan talks about that as part of this refresh. There was a lack of leaders. And I suppose the main leader they lost in the summer with Kasper Schmeichel moving to France. And that left a massive hole. Also losing Wesley Fofana, although not a natural leader and only a youngster, was an immense defender and will go on to be one of the best defenders in the world. He's that good. So it left a massive hole in two ways, in terms of that leadership and in terms of an out-and-out defender who just brings a bit of stability to the back. They are missing Johnny Evans at the minute, which again is a huge blow. Massive experience and just kind of steadies that back line. But Wout has come alongside Daniel Amati, who's kind of fitted into various positions over his time with the club, and all of a sudden that back four has just started to look steady. That's given confidence to Danny Ward, who's kind of replaced Schmeichel as the number one. And again, started the season quite shaky. A couple of errors. It's the first time he's been a number one in the Premier League. But again, those run of clean sheets has just given him that confidence, and you can tell now he's coming into the games just a bit more relaxed, made a couple of really good saves, and now he's got the fans on his side, which again, I think will be a huge bonus. I think the midfield is intriguing. Samari, I mentioned, has shown some real touches of class. Brendan, he's a little bit concerned on what he does off the ball or what he doesn't do off the ball. So I think that'll be a key area, because if he can stay disciplined and do the job he's in to do, that's crucial to kind of stop the Man City kind of midfield runners and the way City can get goals from midfield. So I think he's a key to that. And then up front, whichever one of Pep's defence he goes with in terms of the centre halves, you've got Daka, Maddison or Vardy, whichever of the combination kind of plays. And again, that's going to be intriguing, because Leicester, as you say, have now started to score goals, started to look a threat going forward. Even last season, where they were shipping goals, there was never a problem in scoring. Like you said, Maddison, Barnes, Vardy probably wasn't on fire last season, but he was always a threat. Daka coming in as well. So I'll probably put the kiss of death on it, because this game should never be 0-0. When you look back at some of the high-scoring games that they've had over the last few years, Maddison in particular, the form of last season has come into this season, and even in a struggling side, he has stood out massively. His goals record is now the best in his career. He's already scored 6 in 10, I think, this season. And although playing in a slightly different position, he's kind of playing wide and drifting in field rather than that central role. But he's a continued threat. And between Vardy and Daka, whichever one starts, again, there is that goal threat. But yeah, I'd hate to put a jinx on it, but there should be plenty of goals in this game. As you say, foot in both camps, so I've got to sit on the fence. But I am hoping for a high-scoring draw, maybe 2-2. So it does end the run of clean sheets for Leicester, but I can't see them keeping City out, the form that they're in.
So that was the thoughts of commentator John Dunn there ahead of today's 12:30 kickoff against Leicester City. The King Power Stadium there, you can see it's starting to fill up. Pep there. Oh, there's a smile. I was waiting for a little smile there for him. Right, we're going to give you a quick recap of the starting 11 if you're just joining us. A very, very big welcome as well if you are just joining us. So our starting 11 for today is Ederson, Stones, Akanji, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Silva, Alvarez and Grealish. So that is your starting 11 for today. And yes, if you're just joining us, you may suddenly realise that Erling Haaland is not in the squad today. But Julian Alvarez starts, and we are all very, very excited in the studio today to see him for 90 minutes. So we do have a couple of WhatsApp questions I'm just going to quickly run through. Thank you so much for sending in your WhatsApp questions. It is much appreciated. I do love your questions. So the first one for you all, gents, has come from Mark. He says, morning all, quick question. Who is your favourite footballer of all time, and would you have been able to play with them and benefit off them? I'll go to you, Shaun.
Oh, my favourite footballer has changed over time. I mean, when I was young, it was John Barnes. I really loved him. I think his ability to go across players. But then in more recent times, it's been Yaya Toure and Kevin De Bruyne.
You'd have benefited from Kevin De Bruyne, Shaun.
It's a brilliant question because like when I was younger and to now, it's hard to ignore the guys that are playing today. It's just like these guys are just so brilliant at the game and their performance. So I hope that answers. I know I've answered it by using 3 players.
I'll let you to sit in the fence, mate, is it? Do you know what I
mean? Paul?
My favourite player was Kenny Dalglish.
Of course.
Growing up as a kid and just, he was my hero. Obviously never had the opportunity to be in the same pitch as him, but I managed against him when I was at Oldham at Anfield, and I just remember standing in the technical area and I couldn't stop staring at him. I was just in awe of him. I wasn't even watching the game half the time. And then going into his office after the game and having a glass of wine, it was just an experience I couldn't speak to him, which people will find hard that I couldn't talk. But no, he was my absolute hero growing up.
What was the score that day when your Oldham took on Liverpool?
Steve, your favourite one? No, we lost 5-1.
But you did beat them once though, didn't you?
We beat them the following season, yeah, we drew them again. Brendan Rodgers, fun enough, was manager then.
Love that. Steve, your favourite player?
As a kid growing up, I used to really like Glenn Hoddle. I met him when he was England manager, and then he never picked me again. So then I went out of favour with him. But obviously, you know, I was lucky enough to play with some good lads at Man City and Newcastle as well. I always sort of say the best player I actually played with was Peter Beardsley. I just thought he was an absolute magician. So for me, it was probably him. But like I said, I think as Goats was sort of saying in this team, like people like Kevin De Bruyne, I mean, just special talents. And to watch them week in, week out is absolutely brilliant. So for me, there's a few players. I don't think I would put me finger on just one of them, because obviously there's a lot of very good players about.
Love that. Great question there. What a fab question. Thank you very much for that. Right, we've got an FPL question. I'm going to come back to that in a second because you have read my mind, Kwan, because we are going to talk about FPL in just a second. Mohammed is asking, this is a really good one. Who do you think will take a penalty today if we get one, with Haaland not in the squad and Mahrez on the bench? Who's going to take penalties if we get one?
I would imagine it's Kevin De Bruyne. But I hope that Mahrez gets on and we do get a penalty. Because personally, I would like for him to be the one to take it. Because I think, yes, he has missed the last couple, but I feel that when he was on form and confident with the penalties, I was just like, you couldn't strike him any better in the top corner. So for me, I would love for him to be on if we got a penalty, and that he was the one to take it to get himself back going.
That'd be some bravery as well. I'd have massive respect for him. Kevin De Bruyne, do you think, Steve?
Probably Kevin De Bruyne. I would even go Gundogan as well for me, because he's obviously very confident from the penalty spot. But as Ghost had sort of said, you know, obviously Mahrez is getting a little bit of stick because he has missed penalties, but to be fair to him, he's never shied away from it. He's always got the ball, and for me, that's absolutely brilliant. So it'll be interesting to see who does take it. But like Goats, I think, you know, Mahrez, I think he'd still put himself up for it. But whether there's been a discussion with the manager, with the players beforehand, I don't know. But it could easily, as I said, be De Bruyne or Gundogan.
Massive respect for Mahrez. He has scored 12 penalties for us. You know, I know that it's perhaps the misses that people remember, but I'm trying to remember the 12 that he scored. You going KDB and Gundogan?
I don't think KDB will. For some reason, he doesn't seem to put himself forward for it. And you think someday the way he strikes the ball and his technique and everything else, he would. But there's players ahead of the queue. But I'm with Steve. I think it'll be Gundo. Okay. I think he actually wanted to take it the other night there. If you watch, he was ready to take it and Mahrez took the ball off him. And he's got a good record from the spot. I would love to see Ederson take one.
Oh, me too.
I would love to see it happen because he'll probably take the net off.
Yeah, I asked him on stage at the trophy presentation that we had at the end of last season if we might ever see him take a penalty, and he said, "I'm the best in the club."
He did. And he was looking at Pep and he said it as well, didn't he?
And then Pep said yes, he agreed.
He is the best. I mean, there's some, as I said, we've talked about all these players, but I've never seen anybody strike the ball so cleanly.
It's pure.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just effortless and it goes for miles. So I think there was a goalkeeper a few years ago that used to take penalties and he used to absolutely blast them into the corner. So I think him stepping up, I can't see a goalkeeper getting anywhere near it.
I think I'd probably feel more comfortable if he did it like in a penalty shootout as opposed to like them, you know, it comes off the bar and then run all the way down or something. Love this question. I'm just going to quickly get this question in from Jessica because it is fabulous. Jessica, you are on the ball today. Right, Shaun Goater said he used to love John Barnes, but can he rap like John Barnes?
Alan, no.
I thought he was going to go, you got the hold, he gave it. Go on.
Oh, Steve can. Steve can do it.
I've just been singing in Benidorm the last couple of days, so my voice is a little bit croaky. But go on, you can do it.
Oh, right. Listen, I come a long way, but now I'm here to get on the field and to entertain. For a few moments, I go off track, but I regain my composure and come right back and give the crowd what they're waiting for. City 4.
Fantastic.
He's been practicing that.
Been practicing. Yeah, I gotta send that question in.
Is Jessica actually a pseudonym for you? Did you text that before the show?
No chance.
Jessica, what a question.
It
Shaun
is.
Goater.
So let's hear your rep then.
Thank you so much. I told you guys ask the best questions. Do keep those questions coming in and I will get through as many as I possibly can. Well done, Jessica. Now, there was a question in there as well from Kwan who did say, hi Natalie, I'm Ian. It says Ian. It says Kwan in the other one. Ian, hi, from Kenya. I captained Haaland this week knowing it was a risk. Many people did, Ian. Don't worry about it. But how are you all faring in FPL? Well, Ian, it's like you set us up. Let's have a look to see how we are all faring in FPL. So this is Paul's team. So here you go, Paul. You're on 730, a very respectable 739 points. Give us a quick. Oh, you've captained Haaland. How are you feeling?
See, I took a little leaf out of your book. I captained him thinking he was going to play, but I've took the -4 this week, and I've put Gabby Jesus in.
So you took him out at the last minute?
I took him out at the last minute. Yeah.
And put Gabby.
Whoever's done that graphic is wrong because Anderson, Lamptey.
And maybe this was your team last week?
No, they were on my bench. So was that Callum?
Callum.
Yeah, come on, Callum. Sort it out, mate. One job you've got, mate.
One job, Callum.
You've got a lot of Palace players in there.
I like Eze and Zaha. Anderson's on my bench.
Anderson's on your bench,
yeah.
OK.
And Zaha's been on fire this season. And so they're both done well for me, to be fair.
OK, right. So that is Paul's FPL team. Don't forget, we have our own FPL league that you can join. We'll give you the code in a second. Obviously, we have our own FPL programme as well that you can watch every month as well. So that was Paul's team. And the brilliant thing is that we all actually play it here. So let's have a look. This is Shaun's team. Right, Shaun, is this correct or have you made any changes?
I have to think.
He's not sure.
That will be correct.
OK.
That will be correct, yes.
How's your bench looking with Haaland? Because he's going to get subbed.
Well, you're asking me things I don't quite know right now.
What's your strategy with your back then? You've gone big at the back then, Shaun.
Well, I've been learning. So what people have been telling me is that it isn't. I initially set it up as a proper team, but then it's about either keeping clean sheets or scoring goals, essentially. So I then started looking at people like Arnold who either assist or score, Van Dijk on set pieces. So when I look at the defence and the front line, it's just about goals. So that's why you see Sterling there and De Bruyne, because it's about goals. That's the bit of knowledge I've been told.
Well
so
done.
I've got a little bit more learning to do, but watch me. I'm gonna come through in the end. I'm gonna come through in the end.
I'm going to give you a crash course during the game today as well, because you don't know about your chips and things yet. So we're going to keep you up to date. Steve, here's yours. How are you doing?
Not very well. I think, Alexander-Arnold last season, and for a good few seasons, he's been excellent with assists and obviously getting a few goals. He hasn't done that at all this season. Cucurella's been dragged off a couple of times. I had Son, who never scored, and then he came on a sub and scored 3 and then has not scored again. I think I'd just put Ward-Prowse as another one. You know, I always thought he was quite deadly from set players, and he hasn't scored a free kick, I don't think, this season. Tony's done really well for us. Obviously, Jesus has done quite well. Milner's just been put in there as a kind of replacement today because I was running out of time and I just needed to get some players in. But even then, I'm not even sure whether he's actually going to start the game. So, Guimaraes has done all right. So some players have actually performed quite well, and there's been some that have actually been pretty poor.
So that is our guests' teams today for FPL. So we have our own leaderboard as well. And by the way, our 7 top teams in our league are in the top 10% in the world, and that includes Paul Dickov. You're in the top 10% in the world at the minute, Paul.
I've improved because the last manager's job I got sacked, and I've not been back in since. So
in real life,
I'm having a right good go this year.
So there is the code on screen if you'd like to join our FPL league. Come along and join us. See where you rate amongst these guys, amongst me, amongst FG, who, can you believe it, is currently top of our league. None of us can believe it. It's shocking really, but FG is currently top of our league. Stephen McInerney is second and I am in third. Not bitter about it in the slightest, gents, am I? Not bitter about it at all. So yes, if you are an FPL player, come and join us. And best of luck to everybody, like the 80% of us that probably had Haaland as captain today. I hope that your subs bench is nice and strong. So, of course, City taking on Leicester City today, 12:30 kickoff in the Premier League. Now, as well as having 2 gentlemen in the studio that have played for both City and Leicester, we, of course, have a current player that has played for both us and Leicester City, and that is, of course, Riyad Mahrez. 263 appearances in the Premier League for City. 78 goals, 51 assists. He's played in 147 wins. Phenomenal record he has at City. He joined Leicester in 14-15 and then signed for us, of course, back in 18-19. He is now going to be featured in his own documentary on City Plus. We do some phenomenal documentaries on City Plus and recasts. And we have a new one coming very, very soon that is all focused on the one and only Riyad Mahrez.
It happened at different stages for many players in terms of could we actually win the league. You know, for me, it's when we played Man City away late February and a great team like Manchester City and we beaten them.
Claudio, what an occasion and a fabulous opportunity for Leicester. Take another step in this unbelievable dream.
Yes, I know. We have a lot of respect for Manchester City. Is a fantastic team. But we have nothing to lose. We have to try to win, and we go to the battle because we know very well they had to win. We had to play. And we try to win.
Non, cette saison, il a été important pour nous. Il a été à un niveau, on va dire, à un niveau de voilà.
Good win by Conte. Brighton thought of hitting it early and checked instead and went short. Here's Conte.
The match is 90 or more minutes, and then it's important to understand manager philosophy, understand his teammates, and of course, at the right moment, show your style of football.
Here's Conte. Rolled through towards Mahrez, who's got clear of Otamendi. Riyad Mahrez! 2-0 Leicester! Wow. Wow. Where is this going?
Unbelievable.
Riyad was creating goals out of nothing when there was no chance of scoring.
Son toucher de ballon, sa qualité de dribble, son contrôle, c'est quelque chose qui est du très haut niveau.
And they're 2-0 up at Manchester City. Now you've got to believe it.
He makes simple things look ridiculously easy. That's talent. That is talent.
Our bond and our togetherness helped in how we performed that season because we all wanted to fight, we all wanted to work hard for each other.
He's going to struggle to play this down now.
If you're ever going to win the league, this is the season. Take the chance. You said this.
When?
To me during the week.
I was crazy. We have to try now. Why not? Why not? We have to try.
Fantastic. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you to you.
In this moment, I put the maximum to my players. Just, we did our job. Now, this is a dream. Try to go. Try to go.
The Riyad Mahrez story coming very, very soon to City Plus and to Recast. Of course, Riyad Mahrez with 4 Premier League titles, 1 of them coming at Leicester and 3 of them coming at City. Shaun, I feel like coming straight to you because I know how much you love him.
Yes.
I bet you can't wait to watch that Riyad Mahrez story.
I can't. I hope they do have a section of him and showing his first touch. I mean, we were just saying briefly, his first touch is absolutely ridiculous. His ability to kill a ball, whether it's snowing, it's raining, he's just got an immaculate touch. And we just saw some clips there where they're showing him doing step overs. I think it was Di Michelis that he sort of sent to the shops. Is a wonderful player. I really can't wait to watch it because he's. And I remember when he was at Leicester, and I was sending out tweets saying, "We need to get him. I'd love to get him because." He plays at a different rhythm. Everyone runs at a different speed, but he runs, and it's on the eye. It's just beautiful, and yeah, I'm glad to be. He's on our bench, but to see more of it. But I can't wait to see that program.
Yeah, so of course, Riyad Mahrez on the bench today for City. We, of course, got him from Leicester City as well. Played for both clubs, won the Premier League title at both clubs as well. Didn't win the Premier League title at both clubs, but played for both clubs, of course, with Steve and Paul as well. So I'm sure that you both have strong feelings about today's game. Paul, how was your time at Leicester?
Yeah, I loved it. Had obviously 2 different spells there, 4 years in total. Had a great time, my first spell especially. I'd left here and under Kevin felt at a point to prove when I went there, and the club as a whole was great for me and great for my career. And went back second spell towards the end of my career for 2 years, and a lot of the same people were still there from the first spell. And going back to there's the owners here and the owners there at a different level altogether, but what they've done there is they've kept the heart and soul a lot like what the owners here have done. There's a lot of people. You go to the Etihad on a match day, it's the same people that were back at Main Road. You go to the King Power now, it's the same. The kit men's the same, the laundry ladies are still the same, people behind the scenes are still the same. So it's a great club and a club I've got a lot of affinity for.
Yeah, and it will be an emotional day, I'm sure, for Leicester City today, as well as they remember their former owner, Vishai Shrivardhana Prava, who passed away 4 years ago. Paul, you had the honour of meeting him once, you were saying.
Yeah, very briefly. I was about 5-6 years ago. It was obviously Leicester v Man City, and got introduced to him, and what a gentleman. He just thanked me for my time at the club, which he didn't have to do. I didn't actually think he would have known who I was, but just such a tragic, such a lovely family, but a person that will be remembered and loved for a long, long time.
And really did some incredible things for Leicester City. I mean, in terms of when you were there to where they are now, the transformation has been phenomenal.
It is, just not on the pitch, but off the pitch. The new training ground that they've built is up there with the very best in Europe. And the whole feel-good factor around the place and the success that they've had is purely down to him.
Now, Paul, you had quite a lot of promotions, both with City and with Leicester as well. But I want to highlight your season for you, where
and relegations.
but I didn't.
We'll
Yes,
talk about that.
I did. Do you know what? I didn't mention that. So that, yes, I was skipping over that bit, Paul. But you had a career high of 20 goals in the 2002-2003 season as Leicester got promoted. Was that one of the highlights for you?
Yeah, it was, and it was a big season for the club because we'd went into administration, just been relegated, just left Filbert Street to go into a new stadium, and the club had went into administration. And as players, we had to take, I think it was about October time, when the administrators came in, we had to take an 80% wage cut, or deferral it was at the time, and we only got that 80% back at the end of the season if we got promoted. So as you can imagine, we made sure that we got promoted at the end of that.
And that was the season you scored 20 goals.
Absolutely. I'm not saying I'm a tight Scotsman or anything, but no, we made sure. But it was good times. It was a good team. Steve came for the second season there, I think it was, and players like Muzzy Izzet, Jerry Taggart, Matt Elliott. There were some top boys in there, some real characters as well.
How was your time at Leicester, Steve?
I think Dick's was a lot better than mine because we had a manager at that particular time who loved Paul, and unfortunately for me, we just didn't get on. So I didn't last.
You and Paul?
No, me and the manager. So
we were roommates, and that's a story for another time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I'll have to keep that one quiet. But yeah, I just didn't get on with the manager at all. So it was just one of those unfortunate things where, you know, something's got to give, and obviously he's the manager. So I'm the player that has to leave because I want to play football. You know, I don't want to sit on the bench and stuff like that. But the club itself was a fantastic club, lovely people. Yeah. The facilities, even then, were quite nice, but obviously they've improved since then. But really enjoyed. I really liked the club, but it was just unfortunate it wasn't a great experience. I mean, the manager, Mickey Adams, we actually work together now. We still don't quite see eye to eye, but at the same time, it's kind of just one of them things that we tend not to talk about. But I mean, Dickie was his blue-eyed boy. He absolutely loved him. But
look at him there. Look at that smirk.
It was ridiculous. But yeah, it was one of them ones where I wished it was better, but unfortunately it wasn't.
Well, a good time, I hope, in all three of your lives. I'm going to rewind 22 years, take you back to the 2000-2001 season when you all played together for City. I absolutely love this. Now, if we go back to that season, here's a bit of a question for you all. You all played, you all scored goals, but which of the three of you scored the most that season? 2000-2001.
As strikers, you should know this because
I can't remember what my breakfast
know every detail.
Premier League goals, Premier League goals.
I would say it's got to be the GOAT.
Would you like to see?
Yeah.
I don't know, actually.
So here's some goals from that season. OK, here's Steve getting a goal.
Bang, get it.
Yes, Steve.
You're marking this dodgy there.
Oh, I lost it. It was me movement.
The movement.
I was dipping my shoulder.
Oh, get it. It's coming in behind you as well.
That's the North Stand at Main Road as well. I used to sit just behind that goal. OK, here's Shaun getting a goal. OK, you ready for yours, Shaun? What are you making of that one, Shaun?
Oh, well, it was a flicker one. I'm trying to think who's flicked the other one.
One chop flicked it on for you.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So there's the flick.
Yes. See?
Oh, you're just like Haaland. Just like Haaland.
Get off. Haaland, get off, eh?
I think Haaland learned that from you, Shaun.
There you go. Wait, son, wait. Get on your weights.
What's he doing there?
That's playing through the thirds like we do today.
And here is a goal for you, Paul, as well.
Fired it. Poaching.
Yes.
You've got to be there, though, haven't you, Paul?
I've done 3 goals all in the same game.
I don't know, actually. It's a good question.
Get it.
Yes. What? Were all those goals scored in the same game? May indeed have been against Everton, you know.
Everton, yeah.
So, here you go. 36 appearances in the Premier League that season, Steve. 6 goals. 26 appearances in the Premier League. 6 goals. 21 appearances. 4 goals.
That's disgusting.
So, essentially, the defender has shown you all.
I'm telling you.
Doesn't surprise me.
Told you.
I'll tell you what. We were a great set-piece team.
We were a great set-piece team. That was the thing. When I was at another club, they always aim for somebody else. But with Man City, you know, Kevin Horlock, who had a great delivery, and even Danny Diato, they used to like aim for me. So that's why I managed to score the goals. But all the goals counted.
Yeah.
They all counted.
And you know what? I've just read it now and I ruined it. I was going to ask you all a question. What was so specific about the goals that we just saw? And it was indeed because you all scored in the same game. I cannot believe it. It was a 5-0 win over Everton. It was the 9th of December. And you all scored.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
We should have saved some for other games, shouldn't we? Really?
Yeah, should have.
I love that. I think that's incredible.
Just for the record, I mean, Paul and I were always going training and saying, here we go, set pieces again. This is why we didn't score goals, a lot of goals. It was set pieces.
Should we have a look at another Howey set piece goal?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah, because that's what we worked on, didn't we, Paul?
Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah, Killer was.
There you go.
His feet, like his left foot was excellent as well.
Was that Mark Kennedy?
Yeah. So they used to put me in areas where
the best one
better for us.
Best one was equaliser at Old Trafford, wasn't it? Late in the game.
Yes, because that was a Paul Dickov corner, and put in by part of me, which we can't really talk about. But obviously, it just goes. It helped. It was just trying to get something on it.
Just look. Oh, sorry. No, I was just looking at that. I think my role there was to take the player under.
I agree.
Decoy.
That space.
Yeah.
It was a decoy.
Yeah, he was all over you, wasn't he, Shaun?
I'm trying to make up. So I'm trying to make up for scoring 6 goals in 26 appearances.
Yeah, but you got another 100 during your career, Shaun,
There
so
we
it's
go.
fine. Right, let's have a look at another Paul Dickov goal. So, okay, where are you? There you are.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, hold on. That's what we're talking about, baby.
That could have gone anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. It was a fluke.
Hey?
That's the game where Joe left George Weah out to put me in. And I think George thought, if he's getting in the team ahead of me, it's time for me to retire.
But then you did that.
Yeah. And I got called up for my first Scotland cap after that game as well.
Did you?
So.
Amazing.
You went. Nice retirement, George.
Shaun, we're not going to leave you out. Here's another one of yours.
I think I know what this one will be.
Okay.
It'll be...
This is against Leicester, Shaun.
Yeah, scrappy. I turn my back. Hey! That's the one.
Brave.
There's goals.
You said he was brave as a lion there, wasn't he?
I remember that, yeah.
But they all count.
They all count. I remember. I didn't know where it went. I'm looking. Initially, I just saw us celebrating.
What's Tim Flowers doing? What's the cat doing in goal?
You see?
It's all skill, Shaun.
All skills. Off my shin.
That is a
my
talent.
neck, my back.
That is a talent you cannot teach me.
You cannot teach that.
No.
Kids, you cannot learn that.
That's just in the blood.
It's in the blood.
Yeah. But they all, seriously though, it's a spectacular goal. They all count though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that one there, I've just gambled because I've seen it going towards goal, and I've gotten in a place and I went turtleneck, the neck went in, and I've turned me back and it's going in, but just anticipating that it may come in and around where it was. So
brave as a lion.
Brave as a lion.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. 3 of you all scoring in the same game, all playing in the same season as well. And I reckon if we slowed down and we zoomed in, we might have found me just in the crowd back there. Yes, as a wide-eyed young girl.
That's brilliant.
So, yes, loved that. If you're just joining us on Matchday Live, thank you so much. Very, very welcome. Kickoff is in around about 12 minutes. Just going to give you a quick recap of the team, which is Ederson, Stones, Akanji, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Silva, Grealish and Alvarez. So no Erling Haaland in the squad today for Manchester City. So it is Saturday, the 29th of October. And on Monday, it is indeed Halloween, of course, the 31st of October. So we had to do something Halloween related on today's show. So we came up with a brilliant idea of doing our scary five-a-sides. So that was my scary laugh.
Do that again.
Right. Paul, here is your scary five-a-side team. Talk us through your selections.
Well, Paul Robinson, although as a person is not very scary, but I remember we played a game against him at Main Road when he was at Leeds, and I had an opportunity to leave a bit on him, which I tried to do, but it was like kicking a brick wall, and I've smashed him as hard as I could to try and hurt him really, which I used to do, but I actually ended up doing my own medial ligament, and he got up, picked the ball up as if nothing had ever happened, and ended up being out for 6 weeks. So he was a big boy, Paul, and solid. Desai is probably one of the only times in a game where I've been really scared that I was going to get hurt. We played, I don't know, did you play against Chelsea at the Walker Stadium? And I remember the ball going up in the second half, and I've jumped up for the ball, not intentionally to elbow him, but I've just sort of left my elbow there. And Marcel's came through and he's headed the ball, but he's followed straight into my elbow, and I felt his nose just disintegrate on my elbow. And he didn't get taken off. He should have got taken off, but he wanted to kill me. And I remember the last 20 minutes of the game, I played left wing, I played left back, I played right wing because he was after me. And I remember talking about Mickey Adams sent me after the game. He's going, "What are you doing?" He said, "You're a centre forward." And I was like, I just thought I would try and cause him a little bit more problems. When the final whistle went, I sprinted down the tunnel because literally he wanted to hurt me. And then Steve will tell, well, Vinnie Jones speaks for himself. Great character off the pitch, but on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he went anywhere near you, it was literally win at all costs. Mick Carford was in the crazy gang at Wimbledon with him. I've cheated a little bit. I've put 2 centre forwards in there. I don't think it's two centre forwards anybody would have wanted to have played against. I think Steve will back me up on that one.
Yeah, well, Mick was actually from Sunderland, and he knew my dad. And I can remember playing against him when he was at Wimbledon, and Passion had just gone off, and then of course you're looking across and you're thinking, oh dear, Passion's gone off, and now Mick Hartford's come on, and he was horrible. I mean, he was nasty. So I just tried to get him on side, and I'm like, "Hi, Mick, how's things?" And then he swore at me and just sort of said, "Well, to be fair, Stephen, but because I know your dad, I'm not going to break your nose." And I actually turned around and went, "Thanks, Mick." He was a horrible, horrible player.
I like how you said you said thanks as well. Thanks for not breaking my nose.
Yeah. The nicest guy off the pitch as well.
Yeah.
But the reason I've put Mick in, because I always remember being a young kid at Arsenal, and obviously there's Martin Keown, Tony Adams, Steve Bolt, who were hard men themselves.
Yeah.
And I always remember them talking on the Friday and on the Saturday before the game. It was like, oh no, not Mick Carford tomorrow. They knew that they were going to get.
Not nice.
Yeah, that was one of the toughest games.
And was that Duncan Ferguson up top?
Yeah, well, Big Dunk speaks for itself, you know.
Yeah.
Anybody who 3 guys burgle their house and he beats all 3 of them.
Yeah. Not the best move, is it?
And then on the football pitch, he was a top player though, Dunk.
He was, yeah.
I mean, good touch. You must have played against him loads.
I played against him loads, but I played with him as well at Newcastle. And we used to see him training, and he used to love, in the gym, he used to love doing some boxing. And nobody would go anywhere near him because he was just, that bag, we all felt so sorry for that bag. It was just getting absolutely battered off him. I mean, he was a big, big lad.
I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago for something I was doing. He called me Nicola. I just left it. Shaun, let's have a look at yours now.
Yeah, mine's. I'm not sure if it matches with that, but you listen, the big Dane, Schmeichel. When you saw the other side to him, if we wasn't happy with things you done, you saw a side to him. Not only because we played together, but also when watching him in his time and his journey as a player. He didn't tolerate sort of defenders doing silly things. He put him in place, so he was just really aggressive.
And then is that Psycho?
Psycho, Pearce, Stuart Pearce.
Yep.
Again, these are the sort of guys that off the field are really nice and everything, but once they're on the field, he just goes into this whole another animal, and you just don't want to be on the other side of him. So playing alongside him was a good thing. Trying to also be on his team and training as well. Gaffer, can I be on his team? Make sure I'm on his team.
You've also got Duncan Ferguson as well, and then in midfield, Keane or Vieira. So quickly, who was the scarier?
Well, actually, it wasn't Duncan. It was actually Dickov, in fact. It was Dickov. He was one of those players that you wouldn't want to play against. He was just always on you, ratting about, and as a teammate, if you didn't sort of do what was expected, it's a different animal. Right there, you see a really kind, it's a different animal.
Not on the pitch.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm sorry, we're going to do yours really quickly because the teams are out nice and early in the tunnel already. So give us a talk through of yours.
Well, Hans Segers, he was part of the original crazy gang at Wimbledon because they were just a bad bunch. Martin Keown, centre forwards didn't like playing against him because he would just stand on your toes, he would elbow you, and sometimes it was just unintentional, but that's just the way he was. Dennis Wise was naughty, very naughty at times, could leave his foot in. And of course, obviously, Bats, we all know what you're going to get with David Batty.
Amazing.
And Duncan, we've spoke about Duncan, but again, I'd put Dickie in because honestly, it was like playing playing against a wasp. Yeah. Do you know, just a wasp that's annoying. I remember playing against him when he was at Arsenal, and I came off the pitch and I just thought, somebody you just think, I'm not going to like him at all. I bet he's just not a nice person because of the way he acts on the pitch.
But then in real life...
Actually, I've come down to Man City and we got on like a house on fire.
Well, I love that. That was such a... I wish we'd had more time to talk about those scary top fives, but thank you so much. Right, so the teams are out. You can see them. They are now. Join us back at half-time. We'll talk about everything that happens in that first 45 minutes. Get your commentary now on the Manchester City app with the wonderful Alistair Mann. Enjoy the first half, Blues. We'll see you soon.
So the Blues are eyeing top spot once again, having confirmed they are group winners in the Champions League on Tuesday. City are now at the King Power Stadium, knowing a victory at Leicester will see them hit the Premier League summit. With the current leaders Arsenal playing tomorrow,